Hello. Thank you all for coming, really. Vivienne Westwood was not really exaggerating when she said this is an incredibly important case, because really if we fail in this, if Assange gets extradited, that is the beginning of the end of a free press, I think. So we have to ask, why has Assange been a prisoner for 10 years? 10 years, that's a long, long time. And in that time, he's frequently asked to see the Swedish government to try to sort out that case, about which, by the way, they never brought any charges. They've never been able to meet him for some reason, like they were ill, or the dog ate their homework, or something like that. It's been an absolute parody of a case, this, complete corruption. I don't know if any of you saw what Niels Melzer, who's the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, wrote. He said that when he was first approached about the Assange case, he wasn't inclined to look at it because he thought it was maybe Assange trying to get a bit of publicity and make a bit of trouble. When he was approached a second time, he did look at the case, and he said he had been reluctant to believe that England and Sweden, countries that he thought were civilized and progressive, would have engaged in such corrupt practices as they have done. He went to see Assange and declared that he was suffering from severe psychological torture, as bad as he had seen in any country. So this is England. We are doing this. We're torturing. So the question is, why did we single out Assange for this kind of treatment? You know, surely it wasn't that bad, was it? We singled him out, I think, because we're drifting towards totalitarianism. And the total in totalitarianism is about total control, particularly total control of information. Totalitarians do not want free speech. They want to know that you all hear the same story, their story. And Assange was not telling the same story. In fact, he was saying that story is a bunch of lies. So I think we're being groomed now. We're being groomed for a future in which we stop protesting about assassinations by drone, as we've been doing in Afghanistan. We stop protesting about imprisonment without charge. We stop protesting about murdered activists, as we're seeing in Brazil. We stop protesting about torture, which has made a return in the last 20 years. We stop protesting about violent attacks on peaceful demonstrations, which we're seeing in Israel all the time. We stop protesting about journalists being denied access unless they're sympathetic, which we're happy to now to do in England, apparently. And in general, we give up the fight to have free information, to actually know the truth about what's going on. That's what we're being groomed for, and unfortunately the press seems to be quite happy to accept everything that is leading in that direction. It's extremely disappointing that the press haven't responded, and the media in general haven't responded more rigorously. It's, to me personally, extremely disappointing that I'm always talking at these bloody things, and it's always the same few people talking with me. It's always Yanis or Tariq, or, you know, the same fucking faces. You think, where are the rest of you? You're watching fucking Netflix or something. So I want to just read a little bit from a short piece from an interview that Niels Melzer, the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, did with a magazine called Republic. I really recommend the whole piece. It's a very strong piece. So he was asked the question, are you saying that Julian Assange won't receive a fair trial in the United States? He answered, so listen to this, it's very interesting. He said, without doubt, for as long as the employees of the American government obey the orders of their superiors, they can participate in wars of aggression, war crimes and torture, knowing full well that they will never have to answer to their actions. What happened to the lessons learned in the Nuremberg trials? It is extremely dangerous when the truth is suppressed and criminals are not brought to justice. In the 1930s, Germany and Japan left the League of Nations. 15 years later, the world lay in ruins. Today, the US has withdrawn from the UN Human Rights Council, and neither the collateral murder massacre nor the CIA tortures following 9/11, nor the war of aggression against Iraq have led to any criminal investigations. Now, the United Kingdom too is following that example. The Security and Intelligence Committee in the country's own parliament, that one there, published 2 extensive reports in 2018 showing that Britain was much more deeply involved in the secret CIA torture program than previously believed. The committee recommended a formal investigation. The first thing that Boris Johnson did after he became Prime Minister was to annul that investigation. This is where we're standing now. We're right on the edge of a cliff, I think. If we fall on this one, it'll be very hard to get back out. So, don't extradite Assange.